10 tacos, no hot sauce. The voice was cool and clipped. You got it, just a sec. I didn't even look up. With my 3-year-old son balanced on my left hip and a cigarette dangling from the corner of my mouth, I expertly grabbed 10 corn tortillas and slapped them on the griddle. Hey, buddy, think you can hang with your old man till 2 tonight? I mumbled around the cigarette. Okay, Daddy, he said. My son was a good kid. I was satisfied. He had his mother's looks. He was going to be a heartbreaker one day. I ditched the cigarette, leaned over, and planted a kiss on his cheek, then started grumbling to myself. They say daughters cost you a fortune, but sons aren't much cheaper. If your grandma and grandpa could have watched you today, I could have kept this truck open till 5 in the morning. Damn it, that's a few $100 down the drain. He was too little to get it, just nodding and saying, oh. Leo Price. A sharp voice cut through the sizzle of the grill, and I flinched. I looked up, and my soul just about left my body. A stunningly beautiful woman was staring at me, her eyes as cold as a frozen lake in December, a gaze that felt like it could pierce right through me. An icy aura radiated from her, threatening to swallow me whole. You. The words caught in my throat. Her eyes were murderous, sending a chill straight down my spine. Claire Vanderbilt. You gotta be kidding me. I dragged my family to this forgotten corner of the country, and she still managed to find me? After a long, tense moment, I couldn't stand her stare any longer. What are you doing here? I stammered. Her expression remained as cold as ever. She glanced at me, then her eyes fell on our son, and her gaze instantly softened. A film of tears welled up in her eyes. My son, scared, buried his face in my arm, peeking out at her. Why can't she be here? A handsome guy next to Claire said icily, his eyes burning with jealousy as he looked at me. I ignored him. Wyatt Kensington, heir to a fortune, and Claire's most dedicated admirer. Seeing that I wasn't responding, his face darkened. He turned to Claire. You said that as soon as we found the boy, we could move forward with the wedding. Before Claire could answer, he snapped, do it. In an instant, the bodyguards behind him moved, surging toward me. You son of a bitch, you think you can take my kid? Fury erupted in my chest. I grabbed the heavy cleaver from the cutting board and swung it at the nearest guy's head. The bodyguard was quick, dodging back with a reflexive jerk, a sheen of cold sweat on his forehead. The others saw it and knew they were dealing with someone who had nothing to lose. Wah! The commotion terrified my son, and he burst into tears. I stood there, cleaver in one hand, son in the other, ready for a fight to the death. Stop it! Claire shrieked. Smack! She spun around and slapped Wyatt across the face. Who gave you permission to do this? She hissed, her voice dangerously low. If you so much as scratch my son, I'll end you. Wyatt's face went through shades of red and white, but he didn't dare talk back. He just shut his mouth. It made sense. The Kensington family was nothing compared to the Vanderbilts, and since he was trying to marry her, he had to swallow his anger. All of you get out, Claire commanded. Wyatt, his face a mask of frustration, left with his bodyguards, leaving just Claire. Seeing them go, I finally lowered the cleaver and started trying to soothe my son. Benny. Claire's voice was as soft as water. My son looked up, his eyes still wet with tears. Who are you? In the next second, Claire's glacial stare was back on my face, sharp as a knife. I was still fuming and about to say something, but then the image of her, weak and frail after giving birth, flashed in my mind, and my heart softened. She's your mom. Mom. Benny looked confused. Claire bit her lip, forcing a smile for her son. That's right, honey. I'm your mommy. Oh. She couldn't hold it in anymore. She snatched Benny out of my arms, hugging him tight, and broke down sobbing. The Ice Queen was crying. It was something I had never seen before, and for a moment I was stunned. I'd known her for 7 years, and had never seen this side of her. Daddy, Benny whimpered, scared, struggling to get out of her arms, and reaching for me. I took him back, my heart swelling with a smug satisfaction. Claire didn't dare go against our son's wishes, and had to let go. Leo, I want. Not a chance. I knew exactly what she was going to say, and cut her off. Name your price. How much? How much? You think I care about money? That shut her up. She knew it was true. This man in front of her really didn't care about money. Back when her family had hit rock bottom, her father in jail, their assets frozen, everyone turning their backs on them, I had rolled up in a beat-up Chevy van and packed her entire family inside. Marry me for $3 million and have my baby. That was the first thing I ever said to her. Looking at her desperate family, she had gritted her teeth and agreed. She knew my dad had only cleared about $5 million from his Powerball win. $3 million was nothing to the old Vanderbilt dynasty, but for them, in that moment, it was enough to live with dignity. After she married me, I worked hard every night. My dad's words echoed in my head. This is our one shot to upgrade the Price family gene pool. This is serious business. Don't screw it up. For me and my dad, the most important thing was getting the daughter of the city's richest man to have a Price baby. The money was secondary. Oh my, Claire, what are you doing here? My mom and dad appeared out of nowhere. Seeing them, I felt a surge of irritation. We come back to our hometown for a family visit, and Claire must have found out and followed us. It was ridiculous. The people being tailed arrived slower than the one doing the tailing. My mom took my grandson, holding him protectively and keeping her distance from Claire, her eyes wary. My dad just looked awkward. Claire, you hungry? Want some tacos? Claire, trying to suppress her frustration, said, I'm not hungry. I have to go. As soon as she was out of earshot, the three of us looked at each other and immediately started packing up the truck. Back in our rental, the mood was heavy. My dad spoke first. I think we need to move again. Find another town. We just won't come back for visits anymore. My mom nodded in agreement, cuddling her grandson. The Vanderbilts are definitely here to take the boy. If we don't leave now, when will we? She was even using fancy phrases. That was new. Last time we ran, she'd been against it. My brow furrowed. I completely agreed. Let's go. Right now. The words were barely out of my mouth before we split up. Anything we couldn't carry, we left. Anything we could, we grabbed. As for the taco truck and all the equipment, we abandoned it all. It wasn't like we had much left anyway. After paying Claire the $3 million, my dad and I had managed to lose the rest of the lottery money on a string of terrible business investments. When we were completely broke, we fell back on the only thing we knew, the family's secret taco recipe. Dad set up shop on the east side of town, I took the west. We were making ends meet. Ultimately, we figured out why we were so bad with money. It was a name my dad gave me. Leo Price. He thought it sounded auspicious. Turns out, it just meant I was always dealing in small change. My dad felt terrible about it. It took us maybe 20 minutes. Mom was holding the baby, and Dad and I were loaded down with bags. We headed downstairs. But as soon as we got to the bottom of the stairs, we were met with Claire's knowing, almost mocking smile. Leaving so soon? Where are you all off to in such a hurry? The air froze. After a moment, my dad forced a folksy laugh. Oh, we were just visiting family, and all our relatives wanted to see little Benny. So we were just gonna. A corner of Claire's mouth lifted. Perfect. I'm heading that way myself. Let's go together. She stepped aside, revealing a black, extended-length Maybach parked behind her. I sighed internally. It was over. Our family of four was completely surrounded by more than a dozen of her bodyguards. My dad and I exchanged a look. We knew what the other was thinking. My face hardened. Claire, let's get this straight. The custody of our son is not up for debate. That $3 million I gave you wasn't for nothing. And now your family is trying to set up an alliance with the Kensingtons. And I hear why it's conditioned is that he gets the boy. Forget it. You want my son to call another man dad? Over my dead body. Claire's lips tightened, a strange look in her eyes. When did I ever say I was going to take him from you? Huh. I was completely baffled. If you're not here to take him, then what the hell are you doing here? Claire's expression darkened. Leo Price, I carried Benny for 9 months. He's my son. Don't I even have the right to see him? Well, of course you do, I said, feeling a little embarrassed. To be honest, us running off like that wasn't exactly the right thing to do. But her family was so powerful. If they decided they wanted Benny, I wouldn't be able to stop them. Hiding felt like the only safe option. Claire nodded. I'm not here to fight you for him. I just want to know where he is, so when I miss him, I can see him. Anytime. That's it. That's all. All right, fine. You can go home. Come by whenever you want. Here, Mom, give me the baby. Let his mother hold him for a bit. Benny had already fallen asleep in my mom's arms. I took him carefully and placed him in Claire's. I knew Claire. She was a woman of her word. There was no reason for her to lie to me. And realistically, the chances of her marrying someone else while having my kid were almost zero. Looking at the sleeping little boy in her arms, Claire's face was overcome with a maternal glow. You had a good look? Okay, give him back now, I said after a few minutes, figuring she'd had enough time. Claire shot me a dirty look and whispered, You and your damn temper. You'll never change. My mom, however, was watching Claire with a thoughtful expression. After a little while longer, Claire couldn't resist. She gently kissed the baby's cheek, a look of pure contentment on her face. Come back to Chicago, she said, looking at me seriously. That way I can see him every day. I shook my head so hard it felt like it would fall off. An instant refusal. If I went back to her home turf, I'd be completely at her mercy. Seeing how stubborn I was, Claire's eyes reddened with frustration. I just want to see my son. You're staying in this dead-end town that doesn't even have an airport. It's a multi-day drive just to get here. How am I supposed to see him? And what kind of future does he have here? You want Benny to grow up selling tacos out of truck with you? I thought you were so obsessed with improving the Price family bloodline. Is this it? Another generation of street vendors? Her words hit their mark. I had no comeback. My dad looked sheepish. Finally, after a long pause, I mumbled, well, someone has to pass down the secret family recipe. You. Claire's eyebrows shot up, her eyes blazing with anger. Her lips were pressed into a thin line, and her cheeks flushed. Her chest heaved with fury. $10,000 a month, she said, changing tactics. Child support. For Benny. He'll live with you. I only have one condition. When I want to see my son, I can see him. No questions asked. Was this for real? I shot a skeptical look at my parents. After a quick, silent consultation, I nodded. Okay, I guess that works. Great. Now I really was Leo Price, the guy with nothing but small change. But I did care about my son's future. As long as the Vanderbilts weren't trying to take him, I could live with it. Maybe even if we hadn't run 3 years ago, they wouldn't have tried to take him? I wondered. On the drive back to Chicago, Claire somehow worked her magic and had Benny giggling and calling her mommy like he'd been doing it his whole life. I watched, a little jealous, and started to regret my decision, worried she might go back on her word. Finally, after 3 years, we were back in Chicago. Looking out the window at the familiar skyline, I felt a wave of emotions. The car pulled up to a brownstone. I remember this place. It was the house Claire had bought for her family with the $3 million I gave her. It was empty now. Well, at least it was my money that paid for it. Living here wouldn't be too awkward. Claire was true to her word. She said she had to go to the office to handle some things and left without the baby. Bye, Mommy. Come see Benny soon, my son chirped, giving her a kiss on the cheek. Claire's face lit up in a beautiful smile. She kissed him back. Mommy will be back very soon. Once she was gone, it was time for another family meeting. Dad, can we trust her? Mom, it seems okay, right? My phone buzzed. A notification from my bank app. $10,000 received from Claire Vanderbilt. Meeting adjourned. A little while later, my parents took Benny and went out. I didn't have to ask where they were going. They were off to show off their grandson to all our relatives. With his mother's looks, he was a real showstopper. That left me alone in the house. I took a shower, changed my clothes, and collapsed on the couch to scroll through TikTok. I followed a few dozen more accounts in a matter of minutes. See anything you like? Yeah, Holy crap. When did you get here? I whipped my head around to see Claire standing behind the couch, her face a cold mask. I nearly jumped out of my skin. She didn't say anything, just stared at me until my scalp started to prickle. Finally, she said softly, "You have a cruel heart, Leo." Her eyes were like pools of clear water. My face flushed. For once, I was speechless. We'd been classmates since freshman year of high school, and I'd never lost a verbal sparring match with her. But now, I couldn't think of a single thing to say. Then I remembered she was getting married. A chill went through me. "You're about to be a married woman," I said coolly. "You should probably stop saying things like that." I propped my feet up on the coffee table and started bouncing my leg. Claire stared at the back of my head, gritting her teeth. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore and smacked me upside the head. Ow, what the hell, woman? It really hurt. She hadn't held back. The situation with my family and the Kensingtons. "It's complicated. You'll understand soon enough," came her cold voice from behind me. What was that supposed to mean? I didn't get it, and I didn't care enough to try. "So what are your plans now?" Claire asked, sitting down across from me. I was baffled by the question. "Haven't thought about it." Her eyes darted away. "I need an assistant. Are you interested?" An assistant? Working side by side, every day. I looked at her gorgeous figure, and my mind started to wander. I knew everything about her from our time together. My stare made the tips of her ears turn red, and she shifted uncomfortably. "Nope," I said, rejecting the offer flat out. I knew she had taken over the family business and was on TV a lot. It made sense she'd need an assistant. But me, a grown man, trailing after a woman all day? Not interested. I might have imagined it, but a flicker of disappointment crossed her face. "So you're just going to sit at home and do nothing all day?" That got under my skin. I have a $10,000 a month income. My only job is to raise my son and keep him safe. What else do I need to do? I said, my tone oozing with the arrogance of a man who was proud to be kept. To my surprise, a small smile played on Claire's lips. "I suppose that works," she said. After that, we sat in silence. After a long while, I spoke up. "We should probably go to the courthouse one of these days. Can't hold you up." Claire's neutral expression instantly turned to ice. A wall went up, daring anyone to get close. "Are you sure?" Her voice was like a winter stream. Something inside me screamed no, but thinking about who she was, I forced myself to nod. "Yes. Fine. Courthouse. 9 a.m. Tomorrow. She stood up and walked toward the door. Aren't you going to wait for Benny to get back? I called after her, but she just walked faster, quickly disappearing from sight. When my parents brought Benny home, they were beaming. It was clear the show and tell had been a success. I took my son, looking at his face, a perfect 7/10 replica of Claire's, and sighed. Claire did eventually come back, but only to scoop up Benny for some other son time, not even glancing in my direction. The next day, 9 a.m. sharp, I was at the county courthouse. Half an hour passed. No sign of Claire. Losing my patience, I called her. 5 straight calls went to voicemail. On the 6th, a different woman's voice answered. Hello, who's calling? Ms. Vanderbilt is in a meeting. Please call back later. Fine. I went home. For some reason, deep down, I felt a tiny sliver of relief. For the next 3 days, Claire came by after work to see Benny, just like normal. But she never showed up at the courthouse. And in the house, she never said a single word to me. Leo Price, you son of a bitch, get your ass out here. A familiar roar came from outside. Hearing that voice, my face lit up. I ran out the door to see my best friend of over a decade, Ryan. Haha man, long time no see. You wanna? Oof. A sharp pain exploded in my nose, like it had been struck by lightning. 2 streams of warmth gushed out. What the hell? My temper flared. I threw a punch right into his eye. Ryan yelped in pain and kicked me hard in the stomach. Hut, hut, hut. We went at it, trading blows in the front yard. My parents glanced out, then shut the door, not wanting to see the mess, probably worried it would be a bad influence on their grandson. They were used to it. We've been fighting like this since we were kids. Claire was inside too. I could hear her faintly through the door, and I imagined she saw my occasional yelps of pain, a small smile playing on her lips. But once my dad shut the door, she went to find Benny, not bothering with me. 20 minutes later, Ryan and I were sprawled on the lawn, unable to move. Ryan, you moron, what is wrong with you? I yelled, my face already swelling. He was just as bruised, but he managed a cold laugh. What? I felt like hitting you. You got a problem with that? Let's go another round. Anytime, you bastard. We trash-talked, but neither of us had the energy to get up. After a while, I sighed. Seriously, are you crazy? You ambush me the second you see me. Ryan snorted. I'm beating some sense into you, you piece of trash. Leaving her like that. Oh, that. My face got hot with embarrassment. He looked at me seriously. Do you have any idea? After you left, Claire looked for you like a woman possessed. She came to my place at least twice a month, asking if I'd heard from you. And I heard because of all the stress and heartbreak, she never recovered properly after giving birth. She's had health problems ever since. What? She looked for me like a woman possessed. She got sick, a sharp pain lanced through my chest. I fell silent. Leo, I seriously don't know what goes on in that head of yours. I hear you're trying to divorce her now. When I think about what a heartless bastard you are, I regret ever being your friend, Ryan said, his face full of contempt. My head hung low. I'm not good enough for her. What do you mean, not good enough? She had your son, and now you're saying this? Back in high school, anyone with eyes could see what was going on with you too. Always bickering, always secretly in love with each other. It was sickening to watch. Ryan grimaced, his swollen face a mask of mockery. That's bullshit. I shot back, my face beat red. Ryan just shook his head and patted my shoulder. Did you really think your $3 million was the only offer on the table? Before you showed up, Wyatt Kensington offered her $20 million. $20 million. The number crashed through my mind like a tidal wave. Ryan struggled to his feet, brushed himself off, and started to walk away. Let's get a drink sometime. And if you pull any more crap like this, I'll beat you to death myself. After he left, I couldn't hold it together anymore. Tears streamed down my face. I went back inside and found Claire alone. Hey, Claire, you feeling okay? I asked, cautiously approaching her. She saw my bruised and swollen face, and the corner of her mouth twitched, but she didn't say anything. So, about that. I lost our marriage certificate. I finally managed to say, mustering all my courage. Claire sighed at my words, staring at me blankly. Do you want to go get a replacement? I shook my head violently. No, it's gone. Why bother replacing it? A hint of warmth flickered in her beautiful eyes. She didn't say anything else, just gently rested her head on my shoulder, a peaceful smile spreading across her face. The world went quiet. Neither of us wanted to disturb the perfect stillness of the moment. After a long, long time, she spoke. Don't do that again. It hurts me. And with that, she left. But her absence left a gaping hole in my chest. Time flew. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Today was the day of the Kensington Vanderbilt engagement party. The hotel ballroom was magnificent, packed with the city's elite. I stood in a corner, watching the two of them on the stage, a bitter taste in my mouth. What was Claire thinking? Was she trying to have it both ways? getting engaged to another man. After what she'd said to me that night, I thought something would change, but it was all just an illusion. My heart felt like it had turned to ash. "You piece of trash, get out here and have a drink with me," I growled into the phone to Ryan. At a late-night diner, Ryan sat with me as I drank myself into a stupor. "You punched me for nothing," I slurred. "Oomph. I still think there's more to this story. Get lost." Before I knew it, the world went black. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was a face so beautiful it took my breath away. "You, what are you doing here? Where am I?" My eyes were blurry as I saw Claire sitting next to me. I looked around. We were in a hotel room. "What's the matter? Seeing me get engaged to someone else broke your heart?" she asked, her lips curling into a smile that bloomed like a spring flower, the laughter spilling from her eyes. Her words sobered me up fast. "Broke my heart?" "Please," I scoffed. "Ryan's girlfriend just dumped him. I was just being a good friend, comforting his wounded soul." Claire burst out laughing. "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. Ryan got married last year. You've only seen him twice since you've been back. I guess he didn't get a chance to tell you." "Damn it. That bastard Ryan. I hope he rots." My face turned the color of a cooked lobster. I quickly changed the subject. "You should worry about yourself. You're an engaged woman, in a hotel room with me. Aren't you worried about what people will say?" Claire watched my expression, clearly enjoying my discomfort. "Don't worry. If all goes according to plan, the Kensington Corporation will collapse by tomorrow." "What do you mean, collapse?" I was completely lost. Claire nodded, a satisfied look on her face. "Exactly what it sounds like." "For real? That's great. I mean, how unfortunate." My grin was impossible to hide. I got a little angry. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Suddenly, tears welled up in Claire's eyes. "You were gone for 3 years. Do you have any idea what it was like for me, lying in that hospital bed alone? My father was exonerated, his name cleared. It should have been a happy time. But then you took my son and ran. In an instant, my entire family was gone. He was so little, he couldn't even nurse. I thought you loved me. But instead, because of your own stupid insecurities, you didn't even talk to me. You just left. You were so cruel." Sniff. "I didn't tell you on purpose. I wanted you to suffer." Sniff. "Wow." In a flash, Claire was a mess of tears. I was completely at a loss, overwhelmed by a tidal wave of guilt. "Hit me if you want. Don't hold it in." Her crying only got harder. She pounded my chest with her delicate fists, but there was no force behind them. "I'm going to beat you to death, you heartbreaker." I couldn't stand it anymore. I pulled her into a tight embrace, burying my face in her hair. The long-lost feeling of her in my arms was intoxicating. I found her lips, and I kissed her. It was like dry tinder in a spark. A wildfire erupted between us, a torrential downpour that raged on, refusing to end. The next day, news of the Kensington Corporation's sudden collapse was everywhere. People were stunned. Just one day after announcing an alliance with the powerhouse Vanderbilt family, they were finished. The timing was too perfect to be a coincidence. Claire and Wyatt's engagement, of course, was called off. Claire told me everything. The Kensingtons had been behind her family's downfall years ago, and Wyatt's $20 million offer had come with sinister strings attached. The Vanderbilts had agreed to the engagement as a ruse, a way to get close and systematically dismantle their enemies, finally getting their revenge. Today, our house was more lively than ever. Claire brought her entire family over. My newfound father-in-law, Arthur Vanderbilt, fixed me with an intense gaze. "You helped my family when we were at our lowest," he said, his voice low. "Did you really think we were the kind of people to forget a debt like that? That you had to run away and abandon your wife?" I apologized profusely, admitting my mistake. My father-in-law, a true tycoon, was magnanimous. He didn't hold it against me, instead choosing to cuddle his grandson, enjoying being a grandfather. A month later, the grandest wedding Chicago had seen in years took place. Claire and I walked down the aisle, holding our son's hands. I was ecstatic. She was radiant with happiness. Ryan was in the front row, crying his eyes out, clapping so hard his hands were red. All our friends and family knew our story. They knew the long, difficult road we'd traveled to get here. They were all on their feet, applauding and cheering for us. And in that moment, I finally got it. I learned how to talk, how to open up, no more bickering, no more bottling things up. After the wedding, I showered her with sweet nothings, whispering things that made my ice queen wife blush a deep crimson every single day. It made me happier than I'd ever been. See, it wasn't so hard. What's the point of two people in love hurting each other?